Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse. I am Amy, along here with my sister Molly. We help high-achieving women increase their income, but most importantly, their impact. We are neighbors, sisters, and business partners. We have built 8-figure businesses together, traveled the world together, raised our children together, mentored thousands of men and women together, and it's all because we have a penthouse mindset. We aim for the top, and we show others how to empower themselves to peel back the layers and truly step into their greatness and calling. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse, where we help already successful women upgrade their impact and their income. I'm Amy Mosser, and this is my sister,
Molly Kroeker. And we're so excited to have our dear friend Valerie Edwards with us today in our penthouse. And so, Val, we're just going to jump right in and just tell us a little bit about who you are, a little bit about Val, just a little snapshot into your life.
I was going to say, Valerie, before you even tell us who you are, you really need this drum roll sort of an introduction, because you might be one of my most favorite people on the face of this earth. I've never met anybody that had the servant's heart that you have, anybody who is as gorgeous outside, but more so inside. You truly are one of my most favorite people on the face of the earth. Molly and I had the privilege of building a business alongside Valerie for 18 years, which has been nothing short of amazing. But most importantly, we have been able to serve alongside Valerie in an organization, For the Love of Mateo, a nonprofit that she herself, a little gal from Kansas, this beautiful gal from Kansas, created this amazing nonprofit. And we have been able to work alongside you and many, many others with our daughters. And I would say that to me is far more important than the business accolades and then the success. So Val, you deserve just a huge applause and just all the kudos, because we're so grateful. And so I would love to have you share with us what makes you drive. I mean, how have you gone from small town girl to amazing success in all areas of your life?
You know, I think everything almost for the most part goes back to your childhood, but I had a great mom and dad. They had 6 kids. I raised a family of 8 where, we struggled financially a bit. So I always had kind of this hunger inside of me to want to create this life that was a little bit different than what my parents were able to provide for us. Although I had the love, I was very lucky that we were always fed and, clothed and, had a home to live in and all those things. But there was this something, in my stomach that, I wanted more in my life. And I think that hunger is what kind of made me push myself maybe a little bit more than some others. And then just, I think obviously just life experiences, I've used those as lessons to kind of learn and get better. And I've fallen forward hundreds of times, and every single time there's always some type of a lesson or growth, through that I'm able to okay, through that I'm, this is what happened last time, I'm going to do this differently. And it just helps me to kind of get through the next phase of my life. So
I love this, because the thing is that we know not just you, but your siblings, obviously, and know your dad and your sweet mom. We knew her as well. But so if you're I had a hunger in me, did your siblings have that too? Honestly.
No, I mean, they all hunger in a different way. I mean, it's interesting. I don't have a college degree. I went to school to be a sign language interpreter, but I always wanted to be a mom. And then, found out I was pregnant with my second daughter, so didn't finish, up college. I have one sister that has double masters. She's a teacher and just phenomenal. She's the one that was in Hong Kong and just moved back home. I think only one of my other siblings I actually have 2 that have associate's degrees, but none of them, but they're all in different ways. It's interesting. It's interesting how, experiences in your childhood, how they really can come into your life as an adult, the good, the bad, and the ugly, not always great, but then, I'm constantly cleaning up my house. I'm very type A. My house is always clean, always. And it's hard for me to kind of relax sometimes. And it's because I was raised a family with 6 kids, and our house was a mess all the time. My mom went to college late in life and worked multiple jobs. So did my dad. So there was piles of laundry stacked up. And it's funny because now as an adult, I didn't want that. So, it's I created the life that I wanted and even in like little simple things like that, just how my house will look and, vacations we go on, just all those kinds of things.
You mentioned that you always wanted to be a mother. And I have to tell you, that is one of my favorite things about you is your nurturing spirit. You take care of others so well. And it really is a gift that you have. That probably led you into wanting to be a mother, and that your adoption in Guatemala, which I know you have two beautiful daughters and a granddaughter. Could you share a little bit about Mateo and that motherly instinct that led you to Guatemala?
Well, like I said, I always wanted to be a mom, had my daughters. We thought we were done having kids, but I started my business, and I think our financial flexibility changed a bit from what it was. So I was able to not be so stressed about money, and it allowed my husband and I to consider maybe having another child. A little TMI, but he had a vasectomy. Sorry, I don't know if that's supposed to be said, but he had a vasectomy.
It's all good.
And that's honestly like why we looked at adoption, to be quite honest with you. He didn't want to get it reversed. And we, looked at Guatemala, and because it was close to the United States. And I thought, one day I could maybe take him back on a trip to see his home country, which is kind of comical now considering how many times he's been there. But, I knew that I just knew our family was not complete, but I didn't know that until after my husband had a vasectomy. It was like, life kind of had to happen. And, I think sometimes we jump a little too soon instead of just being patient and staying in that waiting period to see what God has in store. But actually, this is what God had in store. So it's kind of neat how it's all worked itself out. But yeah, so we started an adoption process that took 3.5 years to get him home. Guatemala shut down international adoptions in the middle of our process. 5,000 babies were in process of being adopted when it shut down. And he was one of the last 100 kids to come home in a country where there is no adoption process. So his grandfather did, and he had a mama that fought for him to get him home.
And I I have tears sitting here and now knowing what you went through, but I remember thinking, honestly, I thought you were cuckoo for Cocoa. I was like,
scammed. I had so many.
Yeah. Literally many of your close friends were like, okay, I was fully supporting this, but 3.5 years, finally, it was like, okay, it's okay to give up. It's okay to give up on your dream. Even I said that. So I can't even imagine the loneliness you had to experience going through that. Yes, you had your husband, but just no, I'm going to keep fighting.
It's like I've never lost a child. So I can't even compare that pain to that. But in a way, it kind of felt like, I remember one of our friends in our business had found out she was pregnant about the time that I found out that Mateo was assigned to us when he was 6 weeks old. So then she had her baby, actually got pregnant, had another. It's like I would have people have multiple babies in the time frame that it took me to bring Mateo home. I walked by his bedroom, which I finally had money to have this beautiful nursery, and I had this custom bedding for this crib and had this mural painted in his room. And I would walk by his room every night to go read stories and sing songs to Riley and Addie every night before bed. And then I'd walk back by, and it's just like, it was hard. And when you have everybody around you telling you that you're getting scammed or it's not going to work out, even my adoption agency could no longer help us. They're like, I'm sorry, we'll even refund you some of what you paid because we just don't know what you can do. But I do believe in following your tug. And I just knew that was probably one of those moments where I was just very crystal clear on that he was meant to be in our family. It's the craziest thing. I knew he was meant to be our son. And as soon as I saw him in person and experienced time with him, he'd been my son since the moment I laid eyes on him, but I flew out there for his first birthday because I knew at that point it was going to take a while before I could get him home. And I'm like, I'm going to go there. And if he's my baby for 1 week and I get to have him and love on him, they let us pick him up at the orphanage and stay at this home that we rented for a week. If that's all I get with him, then he's got 1 week of this mama loving all over him. And, but it's just one blessing after another happened. And it took a long time, a lot of patience, a lot of tears, a lot of journal entries, but he came home, a lot of angels that kind of came in our path that helped it all work out. But I believe that this was part of our plan and our purpose because, look what we've been able to create through For Love of Mateo because of his adoption journey. If it would have been perfect, I probably would have only taken him there, on a cultural trip,
Absolutely. I'll tell you your story of faith. And seeing it is done, right? Picturing that baby laying in the crib, setting up the nursery already. That is exactly how you've also run your life and your business. So join us for our full interview with Valerie, and we're going to go down the road of stepping out in faith, of burning the boats, business, adoption, all of that. So tune in for our Meet Me in the Penthouse with Valerie Edwards. Thank you for tuning in today for Meet Me in the Penthouse with sisters Amy and Molly. Please rate and review. We love those 5-star ratings and would love to have you go to our website at sistersnextdoor.com.